Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another bike review for what is possibly the most hotly anticipated bike of 2025, and what I suspect lots of magazines and so on are going to be voting Bike of the Year, things like that. It is, of course, as you will have seen from the thumbnail, the Honda CB1000 Hornet SP. So this is the top of the range of the Hornets. There's two of them. There's this is the one that comes with the Öhlins suspension and some fancy brakes and so on, a little bit more horsepower. And then there's the basic bike, which doesn't have those things. But the real sort of headline grabber is the fact that even this SP version costs less than 10 grand. At least at the moment it's £9,999, which for a bike with Superbike DNA, it has the engine out of the 2017 Honda Fireblade, it represents absolutely incredible value. So if you're interested in the new Hornet, stick around and stay tuned. I'll tell you what I think of it. Okay folks, welcome back to the channel and my first ride review of the new Honda Hornet. So of course Honda brought out the, I think it was the 750 version of the Hornet last year, year before, and they rather cleverly brought out this 1000cc version using that famous Honda name, and it has been, as I say, absolutely hotly anticipated. Loads of people have been making videos on this bike already. Lots of vloggers have bought them. I haven't bought this one, I have to say. This is a press bike that I've got for a couple of weeks, and I'm thrilled to have this for a couple of weeks, and then in about a month's time I'm going to get one for a long-term loan. So I'm going to have one for, I think, 3 to 4 months. I'll have one as a sort of a keeper to really get to know it. So on this video it's all about what are my first impressions of the bike. This literally is the first time I've ridden this bike. It's a brand new one. It was only delivered a couple of days ago. It's the first chance I've had to ride it. It's only done 61 miles, this bike, so it's not even run in. It has got new tyres and new everything, so I'm going to be a little bit careful. But before I can do anything really, I need to just go and get some fuel. So let me show you around the bike while I go and top her up with some fuel up here. Alrighty, let's fire up the iPhone so I can give you a non-distorted view of the new Hornet SP. Check this out. Now I think it is a handsome looking bike, and I'm not the first to notice its more than passing resemblance to bikes like the Ducati Street Fighter, of course, but that's no bad thing. I think it looks lovely, this bike. It's a really nice looking bit of kit. One thing that I don't like about it is the fact that this SP version only comes in the black and gold. Now I love black and gold, and I particularly love the gold wheels. They look fantastic, but I'm not too sure about this matte paint job on the tank here. This I think might be a bit, oh, it is actually a metal tank as well, so you can get your mag tank bags on there. Yeah, I'm not sure how easy that's going to be to look after. If you damage it or whatever, how easy would that be to repair? But given the price of this bike, I think, you know, the SP is the one to have. Of course, it's a bit of a no-brainer to go for this over the standard bike, I think. But given it is quite a reasonable price to start with, you could get you could spend a few £100 on getting these panels wrapped if you wanted, or sprayed a different colour. I think I saw one actually that had yellow sprayed panels on it, and it looked absolutely brilliant. So if I had one of these, I'd be very tempted to do that. So that's my only observation on that. But the fit and finish on it is typical Honda, absolutely beautiful. So I mean, I love the look of the gold forks. I do love that little glossy panel there. Why couldn't they made it all glossy like that? I suppose the other thing that I don't like looks wise is that exhaust is absolutely hideous. It's like a bread bin stuck on the back there. The usual Euro 5 nonsense, I'm afraid. I'm sure there'll be aftermarket versions around, but that's pretty horrible. Definitely could do with a tail tidy as well. Although I quite like this sort of shark finny type look on there, but that big hanger with the British number plate hanging off needs sorting out, doesn't it? What else to show you? Oh, let me just show you what it's like when you turn on the bike. Let me show you the TFT. There we go. This is what you get. A little Hornet logo, and then straight in, quite quick to start up. But mainly what I wanted to show you were the running lights, because good news on this, both headlights are on when you actually turn the bike on, which is fantastic, and it looks kind of mean with those kind of eyeballs and eyebrows effect. It's got these indicators on all the time. They don't actually flash, that's just the iPhone. They are dead steady in real life. And Honda do that now as kind of additional running lights, which I don't like for some reason, but it's not a deal breaker. But yeah, overall, I think it is a lovely looking machine, and it in no way Screams cheap budget bike, does it? Alright, welcome back folks to the bike, and so much for how she looks. Let's give her a bit more of a black then. Now I've got some fuel on board. Most unusual for Honda to deliver a bike without much fuel on, but they are forgiven as they loan me the bike. Right then, so I've topped her up. Let's see what it says the range is. And of course, it may be, as it's a brand new bike, it may take a bit of working out, but it's coming up with a range of 172 miles with a topped up tank. Right, we're off. So I'm going to go and find my usual roads that I ride for reviews, but it's worth just having a little think about the comfort and stuff on the bike while I'm on this rather boring A road. And yeah, comfort, well, it's the first thing that struck me with this bike when I jumped on was just how wide it is. Of course, it is a 4-cylinder engine which sits across the bike, so they are going to be wide. And this is no exception. My legs feel splayed out. The fuel tank feels really wide between my knees. Now, I have a 4-cylinder bike myself. I have a Kawasaki Z900, which is a similar layout engine. And that doesn't feel as wide as this does. So if you're a small chap, I'd say I'm a medium-sized fella at 5'8", you might find it a bit uncomfortable in that respect. And the other thing that struck me as well is the seat's quite hard on it. It's not a bike that's going to you know, be too forgiving on your backside on a long run, I think. I mean, it's not terrible by any means, but it is quite hard. And the other thing is your legs are quite tucked up in a fairly sporty position. I quite like that. I don't find that uncomfortable. The good news is you are sat fairly upright. There's no real perceptible weight on my wrists whatsoever. So it is a comfortable bike to ride. Don't go away thinking I said it was uncomfortable. I'm just saying it's got a bit of a hard seat. Your legs are cramped up a bit, and your knees are splayed wide. That's all true. It doesn't necessarily make it uncomfortable. It's a matter of whether you like that or not. Alrighty, let's go and find my usual test roads then and get off this boring, hideous road with all this traffic. Wait, Mr. White Van, wait for it. Thank you. Alright, nearly back to my favourite little testing area then. Let's just slow her down a little bit. Now, one thing I have noticed about this bike immediately is that it's very easy to change riding modes on this. It's got 3 riding modes, well, plus some user tunable ones, but the usual stuff: rain, road and sport. I've got it in sport mode at the moment, but changing modes couldn't be easier. There's just a mode switch here, look. You literally just flick it, do the usual thing, off the throttle, and you're immediately back into the next mode. I'm in rain mode now. I don't want to be in rain mode. Let's go out of the user modes and back to normal road. Here we go. It's a bit of a, well, it's a very cold day today. It's only about 3 degrees. It's absolutely taters out here. There is no ice. There is a little bit of dampness on the roads, and as I say, I'm on new tyres and so on, so I don't want to go absolutely nuts on it, but at the same time I do want to try it out. One of the things, again, you immediately notice when you jump on the bike is just how agile it is. It feels very, very light. We'll go through the specs in a minute in the usual way, but it feels extremely flickable. I guess the rake angle is such that it turns in very quickly. Something I noticed as soon as I pulled off my drive. And some people like that sort of thing, some people don't. I actually do like it, and I think on a naked roadster like this, having that agility is kind of key. It just makes it a lot of fun. You can absolutely zap this thing around, point it exactly where you want. The bike it reminds me of, so far most, is the Triumph Street Triple, and that is high praise indeed, because that is a bike that is known for superb handling and fun. And this, so far, is absolutely there with it. And having escaped a little bit of traffic, I've already gained a bit. Look, I'll see if I can lose these in a minute. Whilst I'm just behind this car and this van, let's just take a look at what we've got on the handlebars here. It's a pretty simple bike. Now, that's one of the things I love about this, and one of the things I guess that Honda did to save costs on the bike is they didn't give it too much in the way of accessories. This particular one doesn't even have heated grips, hence I've got my heated gloves on today. But it is nice and simple as a result, the handlebars. Sometimes Honda go overboard, don't they? I'm thinking Africa Twin, even the Goldwing, it's festooned with buttons. This one, not the case. It's got that mode switch I talked about. It's got this little vein here with an up-down button which you switch through the various trip counters and so on here. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. And really the only things you need to think about is what sort of display mode you're going to have it in. I've got this in the circular display. You can change that. whether you want to tailor one of the riding modes to your tastes, and that's basically it. And then you've got your 3 riding modes, and that's pretty much all you need to worry about, really. So I like that. It's got all the electronics you need and nothing else besides. So you can just focus on the enjoyment of riding the bike. Oh, it does feel lovely, I have to say. It's the guys that went out on the launch and took it on tracks and stuff. Actually, I don't know if they did take it on tracks, but certainly they rode through a warm country. I think it was in Spain or somewhere, the launch. Pretty much everyone I saw though said how well it handled. And I'm not a great rider, so I don't necessarily know, but you know what? It really does. I mean, I haven't pushed it, been around any particularly twisty roads yet. You can just tell this is a bike that wants to be ridden. With a 150 plus brake horsepower engine in here, there's absolutely ample for the road. You do not need more power than that for the road. And then with the agility of the chassis on here, the way they've set up the geometry, it all adds up to a really great fun machine. As I say, for less than 10 grand. Less than 9 if you go for the non-SP. It's got to be the bargain of the decade as far as motorcycles are concerned. Look at all this mud on the road, that doesn't help, does it? Right, let's see what it's like suspension wise by going up my normal bumpy road. Look at the state of this road. Absolutely shocking. Unfortunately, oh my goodness me. Suddenly got loads of traffic and an invalid car going up my normal testing bit. This is rubbish. Come on, Leaf, let's go. My word. I say nothing, I say nothing. Oh good, the Leaf's turning off. So this is a particularly bumpy, horrible road. So I'm just interested to see how this suspension eats it up. I've not adjusted it in any way. It's just standard how it comes out of the factory. And yeah, I'd say it was set on the harder side of soft, if you see what I mean. It's not so hard it wants to bounce me out the seat, but it's certainly not wallowy and soft. It's nice. And of course on this version it's adjustable, so you can dial that to how you want, but it seems absolutely fine to me, even on this most bumpy of roads. Gosh, there's gravel here now as well. Gravel, mud, damp, new tyres. Alright, I'm coming up to what I usually call my handling road. It's only a little short blast, but you've got a few twisties here. Let's hope that white van's not going where I want to go, and let's hope that Fiat isn't as well. Doesn't look like they are. Excellent. Right, let's give it a little tickle down here. Engine sounds fantastic, and the quick shifter is beautiful on here, both up and down. Yeah, I don't want to go too nuts because the bike's not running, but yeah, it feels good. I think if this bike was mine, I would dial down that suspension a little bit just to soften her up, because it is quite stiff on the bumps and with that hard seat. Yeah, very nice bike this. Let's just try that front brake. Whoa, plenty of stopping power there. Just trying to decide how that feels. Feels pretty good actually. No complaints with the brakes. Let's just try the rear. The rear, there's not a lot there yet, but I'm guessing that just needs to bed in on this brand new bike. Man, there's so much traffic about today. What is going on? Yeah, this is a lot of fun, this bike. I need to definitely run this out in the summer on a better riding road without traffic, and hopefully when I get one of these as the long-term loan, as I mentioned, I'll have the chance to do that. Alright, while I'm trying to lose this bit of traffic, let me just whiz you through those specs. Right, spec time then. Starting with the engine, 1000cc inline 4-cylinder, puts out 155 brake horsepower and 107 newton meters of torque at 9000 RPM. No slouch. This is actually the engine for the 2017 Fireblade, but slightly tuned differently. Brakes on the front of the SP are these Brembo Starlima 4-pot calipers. They're on twin 310mm discs, so those are top quality brakes. On the back, this single pot Nissan caliper on a 240mm disc. Suspension on the front, this fully adjustable Showa upside down forks. They are 41mm in diameter. And on the rear you've got this Öhlins monoshock, and if I come around the other side, hopefully I can show you where the adjusters are. They're tucked in there in a bit of an inaccessible place, but there you go, you can see they're there. Seat height on the bike, a nice and manageable 809mm. According to Honda, the curb weight of the bike is 212 kilograms, so sort of a medium weight, but it feels actually very light when you're riding it. The tank capacity, a fairly standard 17 litres. Electronics on the bike is, as I mentioned, it's got everything you need and not a lot else. I don't think I mentioned before that it does actually have wheelie control on this, as well as the riding modes, the 5-inch TFT, ABS and traction control, LED lights all around, and a USB socket as well. I've got to mention pricing again in case you missed it. This top spec SP just comes in this black and gold colour scheme, which looks lovely, albeit it's got that matte issue I mentioned. This comes in at $9,999 at the moment, and the standard model without the Öhlins, the extra brake horsepower that the exhaust flap gives you, it's only about 3 bhp, gold wheels and so on, is $8,999. An absolute bargain for 150 brake horsepower plus naked roadster. Okay, welcome back. I haven't really managed to lose any traffic, I've just turned off to get rid of it. But anyway, no matter what the road conditions are today, more gravel, it doesn't matter, because this bike feels absolutely great. Loving it. So a few more of the practical aspects then of riding the bike. The mirrors, how do they work? Well, absolutely fine, they're not vibrating, there's nothing shaking around there. What about that TFT? Well, it's super clear, and as I mentioned earlier, you can tailor it to a degree. I think there are about 3 different types of layout to suit your fancy, and it's very, very simple. It's very easy to control. I've not read the manual. I'm a bloke, I never read the manual, but it's very intuitive to use and step through. You can do the connectivity thing if that's your bag. I personally don't ever bother with that. I've yet to find a bike where it's worked properly. I'm sure they do these days, but I can't be bothered with all that caper. I'd rather just get on and ride a bike. But it is there if you like that. She sounds great. I think I would say perhaps is at higher revs there is a little bit of buzziness through the seat. It's just enough to let you know that you're on a motorcycle. It's not, you know, so intrusive that it would put you off buying the bike by any means. It's absolutely fine, but it is there. Wind protection I can't really talk about because I haven't been on a motorway on the bike yet, but it is of course a naked bike, so you are in the wind blast at the top end of you, but because of that really wide bike below you, you're quite well protected on the bottom half, so it's actually, I think it's pretty good from a wind protection point of view. That quick shifter is so nice, both up and down the box. Alright folks, shall we do a lugging about test on the Hornet? Why not? Now this, in case you've not seen my reviews before, is where I simulate moving the bike around on your driveway to check out how heavy or light it feels getting it off the stand, and also just to see what the turning circle's like as well. So I come down here to my local train station at Great Bissenden, park it in my favourite parking spot, which is down here somewhere, this one here. Just see what she's like to live with. So up here, there we go. Right, first off, how easy to get into neutral? Let's see. Dead easy, look at that, no problem at all. And very, very easy to find the centre stand as well. Centre stand, the side stand I should say. Nice. Alright, there we go, we're in the middle of that parking spot. Let's wheel around and see what the turning circle is like. First off the stand, very, very easy. Not difficult at all, feels nice and light, in fact lighter than the numbers would have you believe. Full lock, doesn't feel very tight. Let's come round and see. There we go. And there, does feel nice and light, no problem with the weight of that. And that was the middle of that space to the middle of that space, which puts it firmly in the medium category on turning circle. But it's so light to get off the stand and so on, it's just a piece of cake. I think this would be very, very easy and pleasing to live with. What a cracker Honda have come up with here. So should competitors be worried about the Hornet? Well, absolutely 100% yes, because this thing, although it is remarkable value, there's nothing about it that says I'm a cheap bike. It feels typical Honda quality. We can all assume it's got that typical legendary Honda reliability. It's not lacking anything other than maybe some heated grips. I can't find anything at the moment that I really don't like about the bike. Yes, the seat could be a little bit softer. Other than that, it's an absolute corker. So yes, competitors should be worried, and I see that already some manufacturers are taking action. I noticed on the Kawasaki website the other day, I was looking at the Z900, the new roadster version, and that's got 2 grand off on the website at the time that I'm filming this. It was, I think, 14 grand, it's now down to 12. It's still nowhere near the ballpark of this. So I don't know why you'd buy the Z900 over this bike, for example, just picking on one competitor. Oh, better slow down. Because it's got more power, I think it looks better. It's got more fancy cycle parts, you know, with regards to the Brembo style lemurs up front, the Olin shock at the back. It's absolutely remarkable how Honda do it. So hats off to Honda. When I first saw this in the press, I said it was going to fly off the shelves. I'm sure it already is. I don't know what the sales numbers are, but you can bet it's absolutely selling like hotcakes if it's not already sold out. I cannot wait to get to know the bike a bit more. Let me know if there's any particular questions or things you want me to show you on the bike, and I'll try and cover that off in my next ride on the bike. I will bring you another review on this bike before it goes back to Honda, and then I'll get my long-termer, as I say. So lots more Hornet content coming. If you're interested in this bike, leave your comments below. What would you like to see? And I'll, as I say, I'll try and cover that off in the next video. Alright, that's it for now. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mr. Flyer. Cheerio. Oh my goodness, it's cold out here. Why on earth did I come home from Spain?